You are now listening to the War Report Podcast Network.
There we go. I wasn't even on stage. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the College Loop Podcast. I'm John Larck, able to take on Twitter. Here to talk to y'all today about Auburn basketball. First, as the Auburn Tigers took down the Georgia Bulldogs yesterday afternoon by a score of 82-70. Auburn did that while struggling heavily. Auburn's been on a tear recently, as of in the bad way. Slow starts across the board. I think it's been like 3 games in a row since the Bama game, really, where you've seen Auburn kind of not really take off offensively. Looking at yesterday, Auburn shot 27% from the three-point line, 6 of 22. Free throws, I mean, you shot 28 free throws, 22 of 28, 78 is not bad. 42.9% from the field, 27-63. And, I mean, you had 4 people score double digits, but it was a process for Auburn. But, I mean, it's another game where you didn't give up the lead. They were tied for a minute and 31 of this game, but Auburn had the lead for the entirety of the game, just about 38 minutes. But Georgia didn't make it easy for Auburn. You look at Johni Broome, again, had another great game, 31 points and 14 rebounds. Denver Jones, 17 points. Did not shoot very well from the three-point line, but still made his presence known. Chad Baker-Mazara, 11 points with a technical foul on there. Denver Jones also got himself a tech as well, but I don't agree with either one of those being techs. You also got Miles Kelly had 11 points. Also did not shoot very well from the three-point line. Dylan Cardwell, 4 points. Todd Pettiford, a very rare game for him. 2 points. Did not make a single field goal the entire game. This is a drastic difference from what we saw from the last time Auburn played Georgia, where he had 24 points. 0 for 7 from the field, 0 for 4 from the three-point line, but made both those free throws that he got. But he did lead the Tigers in assists with 5. Also got 2 rebounds as well, so still making ways for Auburn for making plays for Auburn without putting points up. James Hudson, 2 points, 3 rebounds, made a difference whenever Auburn got some players in foul trouble. Dylan Cardwell had 4 fouls. Denver Jones had 4 fouls, and Chaney Johnson had 4 fouls as well. And he only got 4 points up. Another rare bad game for Chaney. Because I think since the original game, I forgot which game it was, Mississippi State, I believe. The first game, Johni Broome was out. You saw Chaney take off. Chaney had himself a streak of really good games, averaging 10 points or more. This was just a slow game for him. Georgia, on the other hand, I mean, they had 2 players or 3 players get double digits, but Asa Newell, a freshman, scored 20. Demery put up 18, and Kane put up 13 in their loss to the Tigers. So who showed out the best for Auburn by plus-minus standards? Well, starting off with 18 in the plus is Chad Baker-Mazara, who, again, the hatred that refs have for CBM is absolutely ridiculous. I don't understand why every time something happens in a game that involves Chad Baker-Mazara, the refs are so much more like they want to call a tech or a flagrant on anything Chad does. It's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, looking back at the tech that he was given, was it dumb for him to have done what he did? Yes. But also, he didn't incite that. That Denver was getting pushed into him, and then he pushed the guy back out of the way. I don't think that was a tech, especially if there are 4 players involved. Just do the no call, tell them to calm down. Don't give a tech just because CBM was involved in that. Should not have been offsetting techs. It should have been, if you're going to give techs out, Chad should not have gotten one. It's stupid. I hate it. Even the commentators really seem to not like Chad Baker-Mazara. They called him a character issue, which I find ridiculous. Chad is one of the leaders on this team. Does he have a personality on the court? Yes. But good Lord, he's not. Well, it's honestly the most annoying part of this season. SEC officiating has just been terrible. I mean, it is awful. this year, and it's been for both. It's been for football and for basketball, and it's wild that they're on a generational run right now, just being terrible. I don't know what you got to do if you're the NCAA, but you have to find some way to keep refs what's the word I'm looking for here? Not responsible, but there should be restrictions or better regulations. I don't understand why a foul in one game isn't a foul in another game. I don't understand that part. When the teams start off aggressive, either the refs get trigger happy with their calls or they don't in the first half, and then in the second half they flip flop. It makes no sense. It's not consistent. It's just not consistent whatsoever. And the hatred that Chadwick and Mazzara gets is absolutely ridiculous. I hate that he just gets every whistle called against him possible. You even go back to who was it? What was the last? It was Arkansas, where he made a shot and he turned around and looked at the bench. That's a dumb foul, regardless. I think they called it a flagrant for taunting. That's dumb. That is the stupidest thing ever. And I really just believe it's because of who Chad is. Chad has energy. Chad has a personality. It's so fun to watch. And it's a bunch of dudes in what color are the shirts for NCAA refs for basketball? I think they're gray. Let's see. I was about to say stripes, but I don't know if they wear stripes. They might wear stripes. They do wear stripes for the zebras. They hate fun. They hate fun. A player banking in a three to silence the players behind him, and he stares out. Because I assure you, those players are probably saying something to him. I hate it. But yeah, Auburn gets the dub over Georgia. So what does the box look like? Auburn, of course, outshot him 43 to 39% from the field. 3-point line, though, a little bit different. Georgia gets the edge there, 32 to 27. Neither team shot well. They're pretty much average across the board. Turnovers, Auburn forced 13 turnovers out of Georgia and scored 11 points of retaliation. Auburn had 8 turnovers in this game. Georgia put up 9. Rebounds, Auburn out-rebounded Georgia 40 to 35. Auburn got 21 defensive and 17 offensive rebounds. Second chance points, Auburn gets the edge there, 17 to 14. Points off the bench. This is where a talking point kind of comes out. Auburn only had 8 points scored off the bench. And when you look at the starters there, Denver, Johni, Chad, Miles all got double digits. Dylan Cardwell got 4 points. But Tahad and Chaney having 6 points combined is not something I had on my bingo card for that game. Definitely out of character games for them point-wise. But still made a difference defensively. And Tahad, again, 5 assists is great for a freshman. His court vision is immaculate. I don't think I've ever seen a freshman have the kind of vision he has when it comes to passing the ball. He had one beautiful pass, and the football brain of me can only compare it to the Cam Newton touchdown against the Falcons in his MVP season, where it kind of perfectly spun through a bunch of defending hands and got into the end zone. It was beautiful. Went through the hands of 2 Georgia defenders and found Dylan Cardwell for his one of his 2 buckets of the game. But yeah, very out of character game for Auburn's bench. Points in the paint, Auburn outscored Georgia 38 to 26. Fast break points, Auburn did not get the edge here. Georgia had it 10 to 6. Blocks, both teams had 5. Steals, Auburn had 4 to Georgia's 5. Assists, Auburn had 17 to Georgia's 11. And of course, Auburn didn't have the lead or never trailed in this game. There's the better thing. But what does this mean going forward? Well, of course, up next for Auburn is the Ole Miss Rebels. That game will be on the 26th, so that's Wednesday, not mistaken. If my math does me right. So tomorrow's the 24th, the 25th. Yep, Wednesday. And we'll preview that on the Tuesday show, but Auburn's only got ranked teams left as far as I'm aware. The polls will come out tomorrow, so we'll see, but Ole Miss currently stands number 24 in the country. And the biggest battle Auburn has going on right now, of course, you got to find a way to get started early from the 3-point line or just scoring in general. And you got to find a way to keep it consistent for 40 minutes. That's the biggest struggle of this season so far is Auburn gets into these slumps. And yes, they find ways to win the game. It didn't happen versus Florida, and it didn't happen versus Duke. But you get into slumps, and it hurts to watch whenever Auburn does. It's like at some points the effort isn't there in midway through the game, and then they find it again, find ways to win. Georgia probably had every opportunity to win this game. Auburn out-talented them at the end of it. But, I mean, you look back, I mean, and this is something I've been hearing about from a lot of people on Twitter is the fact that apparently people believe the energy is lower in Neville Arena right now. But it could be. It's hard to tell on television, but people have been saying that it does. I don't know if that plays into how Auburn has been playing, but when you got Ole Miss, you got Texas A&M, you got Kentucky, and you got Alabama to end out your year, you have sole possession of the number one spot in the SEC. You were 2 games up on Florida and Alabama, and both those teams still have to play each other. You have to end the year off strong. You got, again, the Alabama game at the end of the year. That could be the game that determines SEC regular season title right there. And you cannot have these slumps. Bama's fresh off of a win versus Kentucky after losing to Missouri earlier this week. But you can't have that again. Johni is going to be Johni Broome no matter what. Johni is Johni. And I'm talking about him more in just a second because I'm annoyed by the constant debate that people have because it's obvious what the answer is. But yeah, you got to get 40 minutes of basketball out of this offense, and the defense is there. The defense is why this team is winning these past few games. Like Alabama, Auburn, if the offense played like it did versus Arkansas against Alabama, I mean, you're looking at a loss, a big loss on the road right there versus Alabama. Auburn luckily beat Arkansas, but they were a couple of 3-pointers from their big guy away from losing that game. You got to play 40 minutes of basketball. That's been the biggest thing this year outside of, just some players getting dinged up a little bit, is the fact that Auburn has found ways to shoot themselves out of a lead. And they gotta find a way to get that back. They gotta get the edge back moving on because, again, it's a tough watch whenever it happens. But the big discussion of the week is, of course, Johni Broome versus Cooper Flagg. Of course, that is the National Player of the Year award discussion. And, I mean, it's only down to 2 players at this point. The biggest argument I've seen for Cooper is the fact that he is currently the winner of a head-to-head, but I don't understand what that has to do with a team game. I've never understood using that mentality. So yeah, looking at their stats, both teams both players average around the same minutes, except for Cooper averages about 2 minutes more. Point-wise, Cooper Flagg averages more points, 19.5 points. Johni Broome averages 18.6. Rebounds, though, Auburn gets the edge there. Johni Broome gets the edge, 11-7. Assists, I mean, they're pretty even, 4 to 3.4. Field goal percentage, Johni Broome has the lead in that. But from overall, just what they add to the team, what we've seen thus far with this Auburn team is absolutely ridiculous. The way they're beating teams that are all how many quad one wins does Auburn have this year? Is it 15? Is it 14? I just dropped my pen, so I'm trying to find that real quick. Johni Broome has been the best player in the country. And there's arguments to be made about where Johni Broome stands all time in Auburn player rankings. And just from what we've seen this season, there is no way in the world that Johni Broome should not round out this season with his own individual award, saying that he was the best player in the country. And you see it happen live. Every time you watch Auburn play basketball, Johni Broome is going to have a double-double and is going to ball out. It's as simple and easy as that. He has been the most dominant player on the court in college basketball. He has been. He has been a treasure to watch. And, I mean, sources are saying that he should get a statue after his tenure is up for the Tigers. He's probably been one of the best Auburn players to ever come through the university. And I'm talking like as an Auburn Tiger, depending on how the season goes, like I don't know if it even depends on that. But how dominant he has been. I mean, talent-wise, it's a different discussion. NBA prowess is a different discussion. He's probably been the best Auburn Tiger to go through the men's basketball program. Just what he's done on the court. I mean, it's you only got one season out of Bari. And, of course, Chuck is always going to be in that discussion. But Johni Broome has been, in his career, the best Auburn Tiger to ever play for the men's basketball team. And we've seen it front and center this season. He is in the National Player of the Year award. He's the top. It's a two-man race. There's no one else in this race. It's him or Cooper Flagg. And Cooper, I mean, he's a better NBA prospect strictly because he's younger. But that's the only edge I can give Cooper. He plays a different position. He's going to score more because he plays a more offensive position. Defensively, no one beats Johni Broome defensively. I think Auburn has two players up for the defensive player. At least they should, with Denver Jones being in that list. I mean, even Auburn has the website up for the All for Auburn, Johni Broome. Just if I try to go through here, and just the site can tell you everything you need to know about Johni. Just this year, his career at Auburn, it's been absolutely ridiculous what we've seen on the court. And watching him play against Georgia, I mean, that might have been his best performance we have seen him play in an Auburn jersey. 31 points. You had, 14 rebounds, 8 defensive, 6 offensive, 4 assists. He had 2 blocks. I mean, all thing he was missing was a steal. He in free throw wise, he shot well from the free throw line, 7 of 11. Johni Broome has been the best player in the country. It is inarguable. It has been inarguable. Even if you think the schedule should, I don't think it should be like the end all be all in the conversation, but it has a reason to be because of the schedule Auburn has played. It is ridiculous the non-con and how just historically great the SEC has been this year. It's no discussion whatsoever. It's no argument whatsoever. Johni Broome is the number 1 player in the country, and he should be walking away from Auburn as a National Player of the Year award winner, and hopefully also national champion. But knock on wood on that one. But for sure, without a doubt, no matter how the last 4 games go, Johni Broome is the National Player of the Year. He is. It's simple, easy as that. Go ahead and sign the dotted line on the award. If they give it to Cooper Flagg, I mean, I can put that down as rigged just because they want this kid is he's what Wemby was a few years ago. He's what Cade Cunningham was. He's just the next number 1 overall pick who's going to be the next GOAT. And I wish the best for Cooper Flagg in the NBA. I mean, shoot, if he goes to the Thunder, it'll be the greatest thing ever. But this year, it's been all Johni Broome all the time, and he should be the National Player of the Year award, or should be the National Player of the Year. Signed, still delivered. So that's going to do it for that discussion. We're going to go to a quick little break. Let's have this break. We'll talk about some NFL Combine news because that starts tomorrow. I'll go over the schedule and what some Tigers need to do to raise their draft stock. And, of course, Iron Bowl women's basketball and gymnastics edition took place this weekend. Who won, who lost those games, and of course we'll round out the episode with an update on Diamond Sports. So stay tuned, and we will be right back. Are you tired of having to rummage through just clothes after clothes after clothes looking for something to wear? Are you tired of your friends making fun of you for your terrible fashion sense? Well, do we have the shirt for you? Go to thewarreport.com, get your laptop out and do it right now. Go to the shop and get your very own Feelin' Loopy t-shirt as well as your college loop hat, and you can get both of them for only $25 each. Plus shipping and handling, of course. But with that, now back to your regular scheduled program. And, of course, available on thewarreport.com. Go get your merch today. The College's Loop hat and the Feeling Loop t-shirt become object to wear in your entire life. And I do want to shout out the channel. Just, like, comment, and subscribe. Leave your thoughts. Is Johni Broome the best player to ever wear an Auburn basketball jersey? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. And, of course, don't forget to subscribe. We're getting so close to 1,000 subscribers. Might do a giveaway when we hit it. And not only do I want to thank everyone who has subscribed, I do want to thank everybody that has subscribed. The past 2 weekends, I've gotten, it's been, I'm trying to think of the word, wacky in a way. I want to shout out AD. He saw me at Texas Roadhouse with my fiance on Friday night, and it was so cool. Getting recognized. I always love whenever someone's like, "Oh, dude, I love your show," because it makes me feel like that everything I do here is just working out. And it was super cool to meet 2 loopers in back-to-back weekends. That was really, really awesome, and I want to shout out those 2 guys. I didn't get the first guy's name last weekend. Of course, that weekend was crazy, but I do want to shout out AD. He did tell me his name. It was super cool, super, super cool. Love meeting loopers out in public. But yeah, as we move on with the remainder of the show, the NFL Combine starts tomorrow, and 4 Tigers, of course, are going to be on display this week. I'm trying to pull up the schedule. I have the list of Tigers. Of course, it's going to be Jarquez Hunter. It's going to be Keandre Lambert-Smith, and it's going to be Eugene Asante and Jalen McLeod defensively. So starting on, it says Thursday, but okay, now I get it. So everything begins this week, but did I read something completely wrong? I swear it told me the 24th is when it starts. But let's see. So they're going to start like interviewing and measuring and everything tomorrow, but the combine actually starts on the 27th. There we go. That's so confusing. The NFL.com has 2 articles. One of them says the 24th through March 3rd. The other one says the 27th through Sunday. Okay, so the actual combine, we're going to watch the players run the 40, do bench press, all that stuff is going to be Thursday, the 27th. And, of course, it's going to round out on March 2nd. So, position breakdown here. Thursday from 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern time, so 2 to 7. The defensive linemen and the linebackers will be up on display. Then Friday, February 28th, you got from 3 to 9, or 2 to 8, there we go. DBs and tight ends, no Tigers on that day. Saturday, 12 to 8. You got quarterbacks, wide receivers, and running backs, and I'll round out what you see the Auburn Tigers. And the last day on Sunday, you'll see offensive linemen. So if you like I'm a sicko when it comes to the NFL Combine. I love watching the Combine. It's super cool to watch all these players that I've watched in college football go ball out. But, of course, there are 4 Tigers on display. Of course, we'll start off, and you'll see 2 of them defensively on Thursday, and Jalen McLeod and Eugene Asante. Go ahead and start off with those 2. So, Eugene Asante currently seen as a day 3 prospect by pretty much every metric I've looked at. There are some issues with his game that some of the draft analysts have seen from what I've read. And one of the big things he's going to work on is his footwork and coverage. There's been a lot of film review on him where he has kind of taken some bait when it came to pump fakes or RPOs. And, of course, he is a really good defender. We've seen him do very well in coverage before. So, and this is just a big thing that they've seen is if someone pump fakes, he tends to bite on it. So, yeah, that's one big thing for Eugene Asante. And, of course, he's only had like 3 or 4 weaknesses named, which Eugene is going to ball out in the NFL. He has the hard work, and I mean, I could see him end up like Deshaun Davis. If he'll get drafted, and then if it doesn't work out, he goes straight into coaching. That's just the kind of player that I think Eugene is. He's a born leader. He is going to be a star if a team gives him the opportunity to be. But yeah, that's just the big thing I've seen from people have said about him is just the footwork and coverage. That's the big thing. Of course, the other player here, the defensive player that's going to be on the combine on Thursday, is Jalen McLeod. Big thing for him has been tackling in space. Of course, a lot of analysts don't really know what position McLeod is going to be, whether it's an edge rusher or whether it's a linebacker. People don't really know. And that's probably the big thing with him is they've seen him pass rush, and tackling in space has just not been something he's had to do. And if he wants to be a linebacker, he has to get that down pat. And I mean, I don't know how much the combine really helps out with that. I mean, you're really just tackling a dummy, so there's no way of real knowing. I mean, it's all footwork and speed and strength. It's just how well you can answer questions of that too. But yeah, that's the big thing I've seen from Jalen McLeod is just tackling in space. But I don't know how to help that out in the combine. Footwork and coverage, of course, it's all going to be footwork drills. But McLeod's going to have to be very obvious about which position he's going to be playing. Whether it's edge rusher, he needs to work out the D lineman. If it's linebackers, he's got to work out the linebackers. But we'll see on Thursday. Offensively, of course, it says Saturday you'll see the quarterbacks, wide receivers, and running backs. Of course, Peyton Thorne did not get an invite to the NFL Combine, but Keandre Lambert-Smith did. And for him, I mean, the big thing for him isn't the fact that he balled out for Auburn last year, and that's no surprise there. The one thing you didn't get to see a lot of him was his route running ability, and that's something that people really have noted because he had one breakout year as a wide receiver, which I don't really agree with. He had two. At least his junior year at Penn State, he was really good. But his route running is not because he was not good at route running. It's because Auburn didn't utilize him as a route runner. He ran about 3 or 4 different routes, and that's all his route tree was. That's kind of how basic and simple and really bad the offensive play calling was the fact you didn't get to see more of what KLS could do. I think KLS is going to end up being one of the best wide receivers to come out of this class. I highly believe it because of how good he was last year for Auburn. And if you're able to ball out as a wide receiver in that offense we saw last year, I mean, him and Cam Coleman both. I mean, I'm bright futures ahead for him, for Cam Coleman, and for Malcolm Simmons for balling out in this offense. We'll hopefully get to see more of Perry Thompson next year. But KLS is going to be a dog in the NFL. And he's going to show up that he's able to run some more routes and just, I think, streak and post was all he really ran for Auburn. But that's been the big thing I've seen from all analysts is that his route running is just not a lot of tape on it, but able to fix that. That will be a combine drill. There'll be a few of those actually. But catching, not a problem. I think speed has been in question. He's not really a breakaway threat, but he is going to be the go up and get it kind of guy. And then lastly of the combine guys, Jarquez Hunter. Jarquez has a few. Of course, I think Jarquez is going to be a good running back in the league. He's going to be a complimentary back, of course. I don't think he's going to be a guy you go in and start right away. Pass blocking, though, was an issue for Quez. And he'll have to do some blocking drills, but he'll have to prove that he can do it to people who need a running back. Of course, a lot of passing drills are going to be involved for running backs. And, I mean – Quez, the big issue with Quez here is one of the things, something else I've noted, ball handling, what's the word here? Ball security. There we go. Was something that people have been putting in question. If Quez just wore gloves, he would silence everybody who has ever said that his ball security is not good. That's just a big issue I've always seen with Quez. He just doesn't wear gloves. I feel like he's at a position where you have to be wearing gloves at all times because it just gives you that much more grip on the ball. But I mean, pass blocking has been the most consistent thing, and hopefully you get to see some way of showing that. I don't know if there is in the combine, but pass catching is there and ball security is there. So you have to show that off at the combine. Of course, I think every Tiger is projected to get drafted outside of maybe Jalen McLeod. But at that, I mean, KLS is the highest ranked one. I think he's a day 2 guy. Sante and Quez, both day 3, more than likely. And McLeod is late day 3 UDFA, one of the two for McLeod. And I think McLeod can ball out if given the opportunity to. I think all four of these guys can. KLS, though, is my pick for who I think is going to be the best Tiger out of this draft class. Quez has a lot to prove because he's in a stacked running back class and going to a league where they don't care about the running back position anymore. And then, Asante, I think has opportunities to do the same thing. McLeod is just, I don't know, position he's going to be playing in the league. He might be undersized to be a edge rusher, but I think he can get over that with how athletic he is. But that's going to do it for the combine. Of course, we'll talk more about that not next week, but next Sunday, I do believe, whenever all four of these guys are done, and we'll kind of go over how they did, if their stock rose. But usually if you get invited to the combine, it pretty much means you're going to get drafted. So big ups to all four of those guys as we move on to some Iron Bowls that took place over this weekend, starting off with Auburn Gymnastics, able to take on the Alabama Crimson Tide, getting their first ever win in Coleman Coliseum, balling out all throughout the entirety of it, beating Alabama 197.75 to 197.35. So starting off, vault, Auburn got a 49.5, beat Alabama in that rotation. I'm trying to remember which one of these was like the record. I think Auburn got a program record in one of their in the rotations. I can't remember which one it was. Barely lost at bars against Alabama just by 0.025. That's how close the bars were. Auburn definitely stepped back up after not having a great showcase last week. Beam came along. Auburn balled out on Beam and tied Alabama 49.375. And then lastly, the floor rotation, which Auburn did floor third. Auburn got the win. 0.15 was the difference there. All that for Auburn to get the win, and they all did the Crimson Crane thing on the mats. But big ups to Auburn Gymnastics, a huge win, a program defining win right there for Jeff Graba. They've been great all year, and there's only been like 2 meets they've lost, if I'm not mistaken. I'm trying to remember if it's Florida for sure and it's Oklahoma earlier in the year, but I just want to make sure it's that. Correction, they've lost 3 meets. They lost to Kentucky, right? Kentucky, yep, Kentucky. But does not get easier for Auburn. Our next up for the Tigers on Friday, the last day of February, Auburn's got to take on I think they're still number 1 team, top 3 team in the nation in Oklahoma. But luckily you get them at home. That'll be good for the Tigers. But would love to see them get a win. It would just be awesome to see, though. Definitely going to be tuning in on television for that one. If you're not, I don't know what you're doing. Other Iron Bowls going on. Auburn women's basketball was not able to keep the trend going, taking the 16-point loss on the road, I believe. Yeah, on the road, 66-50. Auburn came out hot in the first quarter. Came out hot and did not keep that energy for the entirety of the game. The first quarter ended, it was 20-9. Second quarter ended, it was 30-29 was the score in Bama's favor. Third quarter came along, Bama extended their lead 49-39, and then fourth quarter goes 66-50. Yeah, you hate to see it. Auburn only had one player scoring double digits, which tends to be the case with how they've been playing this year. They got to get healthy. It's such a – I hate talking about it all the time because it's what it has to happen. They had 4 girls really 5 play for 30 minutes, which you don't want to have, especially when your bench supposed to be like really good. Jordan Hunter put up the most points off the bench with 17, but scored 3 points, which I think was a buzzer beater at the end of the first quarter. Soraya Daniels put up 2 points off the bench, so 5 combined points off the bench. Alabama didn't do much better with that. Only got 2, but they had 3 girls put up double digits with 29, 13, and 12. Deanna Gaston, again, having herself a great game, had a double-double, 19 points, 13 rebounds, continuing her case for one of the best players in the country. Celia Sambane was second on the team with 8 and tied Marshawn Bostic as well. Marshawn had 5 assists and 4 steals. Another great game for Marshawn. And then Taylor Collins had 3 points. Yuting Dong had 7 points and shot 0 for 3 from the 3-point line. Auburn on the game 1 for 7 from the 3-point line. Alabama 8 of 21 from the distance. Yeah, it's just another game where Auburn started off hot and just didn't have the bodies to keep it going throughout the entire game. It's been a trend all year long. The season's almost over for women's basketball. I think they got like 2 more games, and they're good. And they're good. They got to start preparing for the the SEC tournament, which I believe at this point Auburn will have to win it to get into March. Next for the Lady Tigers is Georgia, at Georgia on the 27th, and they round out the year on March 2nd with Mississippi State, and then SEC tournament all the way. And that might do it for the season for women's basketball. Take this offseason to get healthy. Get very healthy at that. But yeah, all I can really say about that one is it's been the trend all year long. It's just they've not been healthy whatsoever. So hopefully moving forward, you get to see more of that. You get to see how good they actually can be next year. I don't think Coach Jay should get fired. I can't side with anybody on that. I've seen so many people say that she should get fired, and I just don't understand why. The team was banged up all year long, and when you don't have depth, it hurts. It really does hurt. So with that, going to round out the show. Going to talk about some Diamond sports real quick. Auburn softball in the Rocket City Showcase rounded out their now 4-game weekend instead of a 5-game weekend. Of course, JMU canceled. The game got canceled and started off on Friday with a bad loss to Louisiana Tech. Auburn took their first loss of the year, 5-1. That was a terrible game. Auburn could not hit the broadside of a barn whatsoever. With the bat. Just not a good showcase. Something that, I mean, Auburn started off the year 11-0, which is the best news ever. It was bound to happen eventually, but I didn't expect it to happen this soon and by that margin. Then the struggles continued batting wise into the next game. Of course, Auburn got the win over North Alabama 2-1, but again, just could not get the bats hot. Took on Miami, Ohio, and struggled for the first half of that game. Auburn was down 6-1 at the end of the 3rd inning. 4th inning came along, bottom of the 4th. Auburn put on a clinic. Rose Roach got herself a 2 RBI single. Nelia Peralta fouled out and advanced Womack to score, so not a walk-off, but a RBI walk. Isis Tresvik got Rose Roach and Abby Smith, to home plate, and then that tied up the game. Auburn in the 5th and 6th inning then took over and got the win 11-6, but needed the back half of the game to turn out like it did to get the win there. So 2-1 going into today, where that game ended pretty soon before we started the show tonight. Annalise Smith got the walk-off. Not Annalise, Abby Smith, Annalie Adams got the walk-off hit for the Tigers and got Auburn the win against Jacksonville State 3-2. This did humble me a little bit about Auburn softball this weekend. But I can't be mad about a 14-1 start. Offense did not play to par from what we've been seeing. But, I mean, last week, you had some bad pitching. This week, it was just Auburn could hit the ball. And then you needed the back half of the game to go your way from Miami, Ohio. This team has talent. The Malvos built this team up through the portal and through recruiting. And they still have some things to work out. That's going to be the case for any time a first-year coach comes to a program. I say first-year coach. They're not first-year coaches, but their first time at Auburn as Auburn coaches. It's going to happen. It's going to happen, but not mad about it. Auburn You won more games than you lost, and that's the message here. 3-1 on the weekend. Of course, next week you got Rutgers, McNeese State, and Louisiana Lafayette to do the JB Memorial, and then after that, SEC conference play is just a couple weeks away. So get super hyped for Auburn softball. Getting started off versus Mississippi State in Starkville. Auburn won't be back in Auburn for SEC play until March 14th. Which is the day Auburn, I believe, plays Alabama in basketball. So definitely check if you can buy tickets to Auburn. If you can't buy tickets to Auburn basketball, go buy tickets to Auburn softball. Definitely a lot of fun over there at JB Moore. Just have the basketball game on your phone and keep an eye on both. But yeah, super proud of what we've seen from Auburn softball in their first year of the Malvo era. Now rounding up the show, Auburn baseball got the sweep over Wright State. And did so in dominating fashion on Friday in 7 innings. He got the 11-0 win. Saturday also played 7 innings, 11-1. And then today, Auburn got won 9-4 in. Well, that's 9. They didn't run rule them. But yeah, great weekend for Auburn athletics. You had 2 losses from the big sports. Softball took 1 loss, and then women's basketball took a loss today. So big ups to Auburn. Great weekend. A lot of things to work on across the board. Basketball, got to get healthy. Women basketball wise, and then guys, got to quit getting yourself into slumps. That's going to do it for the installment of the College Loop podcast. Of course, I'm Dylan Larck. Everybody take on Twitter. Find me on Instagram as well at Dylan Larck, at DYLNLARCK. And prepare yourself because the College Loop March Madness bracket challenge is going to start off soon. Of course, we got the SC tournament, and then that tournament bracket is going to start up. The winner of the tournament bracket, or the bracket tournament, bracket tournament, gets 2 free tickets to Auburn's 8A game that next week after the Final Four. So stay tuned for that. Details coming soon. And don't forget to get the College Loop YouTube channel to 1,000 subscribers, because I'll do a giveaway of the merch then. And, of course, follow the social media platforms, all of them at the College Loop on every single social media platform you can think of: Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, the works. All is the College Loop. Shout out AD for seeing me at Texas Roadhouse. It was really cool seeing him, and getting noticed in public is always awesome. Because again, it makes me feel proud. More proud. I mean, not to say like that. More proud of everything we're doing over here at the College Loop podcast. So love you all. Get us to 1,000 subscribers. It'd be awesome. Again, I think analytics say I'm gonna be getting to 1,000 on my birthday. So that'd be really cool. 25th birthday present for y'all to me would be 1,000 subscribers. So shout out y'all as well. Y'all were just as responsible for us having this. Y'all are more responsible than anything I do. I'm just a guy who likes to talk about sports in front of a microphone. Y'all are the ones that tune in every day. I'm so thankful for everything y'all have done for me and the College Loop. Thank you all so much. Love the Loopers. Hashtag feeling loopy. With that being said, thanks for watching this installment of the College Loop podcast. And as always, War Eagle.